Okay, mate, Marty Cole. Started in 81. He's a Bexley vice president, Canterbury Bexley life member. He's been on a gazillion roles. He's one of our legends.
Marty certainly is. Again, one of the funniest blokes I've played cricket with. And again, I'm sure he'd say this himself, is he looked fantastic with the bat, and only probably didn't get as many runs as he would have liked. More than handy off-spin bowler, really good field.
Offie back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Good off-spin bowler, very good in the field. But just again, a great club man. He was in the second grade side my first year when I went from threes to twos, or C's to B's.
C's to B's back then, wasn't it? Yeah.
And Marty was part of that side, so again, a great club man, on the committee for a long time. Treasurer was because we thought an accountant, you must be able to be a treasurer as well.
Yeah.
So is that a presence I see in the background? As long as you're staying metre and a half away from me, I'm fine. It is.
What are your memories of Marty?
Well, Marty's probably one of my better mates at the club. He's just a very dry, sarcastic, funny kind of guy. So most of my humorous times involve either him, Renfrey, Crew, Whitehouse, Thompson, Davies. It was that sort of group that we had the most fun with. But Marty was probably so laid back for his for his too much laid back for his own good.
Right, yeah.
But I know that I think was timed out twice.
Mate, I have heard that story. Yes.
Once is bad enough, twice is just unforgivable. But
yes, true.
But he was a pretty good junior cricketer, and what I understand, and he was sort of on that cusp of A and B grade at the time when I first joined.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of lower grade cricket with him after that. No, he's a good guy, a good cricketer. We've always sort of either opening the batting or sort of filling a spot somewhere in the top order.
Yeah.
In the latter years, he tried to take on Tomo's role and bowl some spin, but no one could get the ball out of Tomo's hands. So.
Yeah. Tomo, one of our current pillars of the club, alongside Mr. Peter Renfrey, is this gentleman here. Started in 80-81. He's a Bexley vice president, Canterbury Bexley life member. He had the first role of the only social butterfly I saw from annual reports, Marty Cole. Mate, what do you know about Marty?
Marty Cole, social butterfly would probably be the way to describe him.
Yep.
Marty's a pretty sort of laid-back guy.
Yep.
Without being unkind to him, he's pretty disorganised.
Right.
A memory I have was that after his father used to come to games, Arthur actually was a first grade NRL referee.
Right.
And he was a fun guy, Arthur. Sadly passed away only a few years back.
Okay.
But I believe I was Marty's first captain, and I believe it was at Akron Oval up at Mingfield, against Mingfield in second grade and early 80s. Yeah. But the story I remember most about Marty and his unorganised ways is that they lived not far from me, and Marty asked if I'd like to go to the test match. I think it was an Ashes game. And he said, I'll get the tickets because Dad's a member.
Right.
So I went to Marty's place, and I think I picked up his father, and we drove to pick up Marty. And we're halfway to the SCG, and Arthur reminded Marty about the tickets. And Marty said, "Oh, they're on the kitchen table back home." Well, with that, Arthur turned around, and it didn't surprise me what he said. He said, "You'd forget your head if it wasn't screwed on." Marty, though, just the same, had done a lot for the club, was a treasurer,
Yep.
played a lot of cricket with him.
Yep.
A dedicated guy, both on and off the field. Very good beach sprinter he was, and
Back in the day, yeah.
back in the days, and he chased after everything.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun times with Marty, and I have the pleasure of still playing in the veterans cricket sides with Marty. So see him during the summertime, and always fun.
Gets me drunk every now and then.
And that's Mr. Cole, was it?
Mr. Cole.
Right. Okay. He gets you drunk.
Mr. Marty Cole. Well, yeah. Actually, we were only out the cricket with him in November, I think. Went out with him and Peter Renfrey. Yeah, so I still keep in contact with Marty. Yeah. We had some good times. He was in the 80s, the early 80s, as I said.
Yeah.
They were good times.
80, 81.
Yeah, they were good times. Terrific team, man. That's what I remember about Marty. He'd be one of the fellas who's good B grade, lesser A grade, but every time the A grade needs someone, he was the first one to volunteer. And he didn't care about coming up and batting number 8 and not bowling and that. So he was that sort of. He's a great
Team
club,
man.
terrific club man. Yeah, and team
Because
man.
he's vice president, life member, and range of committee roles.
Yeah.
Over decades.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't do a lot of community. I did a lot of playing and social things and whatever.
Yes.
But all these fellas contributed so much to the committees.
Yeah.
And they said we're going back to the 80s. We're talking 40 years, and they're still around now. So
That's right. Yeah.
they've contributed
Going strong.
a lot of stuff and time to the club.
Yeah.
So they are the club, aren't they?
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Marty Cole, yes, he was that bloke that everyone couldn't work out what was going on there. He'd be the last one to attend training, and then he'd be the first one to leave as a young bloke. His dad would bring him along after, and he'd get looked after, Marty. Yeah, I think he probably still gets looked after at home too. But another fella that is fantastic to play with a great sense of humour, and I still enjoy playing with him in the 50s. Another bloke that he had when he was good, he was very, very good.
Yeah.
But when he had a bad run of outs, and one of his good stories is being given out LBW and looking down, and you can see 1 foot either side of his marking for centre, so it was fairly obvious that he was out there. A lot of trouble with the time. Only bloke that I've ever known to be timed out twice. And it is a long drive to Macquarie Uni and a long walk out to the centre. Well, he still had the drive, but he missed out on a long walk out to the centre one day. So,
There's got to be a Shire's record. Sure.
Yes. Whoever his captain was at the time, probably not real smart, having him as the not-out batsman overnight.
As it turns out, so I've learned, it was actually, sadly, Mr. Renfrey.
Yes. Yeah. But, yes, definitely. But, has been on the committee, was treasurer.
Just for a long time, yeah. Did a heap of committee roles.
Yes, so another fantastic, solid person that needed to keep the cup going. We had a end of season. There may have been some pork on a spit there, and a pig's head made an appearance at the night round Carrying Bar Place of Mr. and Mrs. Cole Senior. So yes, another bloke that really enjoyed playing with. They still do.
Pete, this guy, both you and him, pretty much peas in a pod, came up together through Bexley and to what we are with George River today. Both your names on the presentation at the end of the year.
You're talking Martin Cole here.
I am. So a Bexley Vice President, Canterbury Bexley Life member. Right. You two are inseparable.
Well, we started playing cricket together on the same day in 1980-81.
Serious?
With Bexley, up at one of the northern grounds, and Somerville, not Somerville, whatever the other ground is up there in Academy. And he was considerably younger than the rest of us. He was like 16. He had to be driven to cricket by his dad.
All right.
And we ended up opening the batting together quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
Became pretty good mates to the point where he did me the honour of asking me to be best man at his wedding. So it's
Bloody hell.
It's a bit of a cricket story.
Yeah.
There, I actually introduced him to his wife, now ex-wife.
Right.
Who
Okay. Move on.
who was working with me at the time, and I got a promotion at work, and as you do, you go out for a lot of drinks, and invited him along, and he hooked up with Karen at the time, so and they've had four kids together before they split. So yeah, no, it's all good. Marty and I go way back.
Yeah.
And I got to know his dad really well, who was a former rugby league referee, referee and touch judge, and
Yep.
did a lot of running the lines for grand finals and stuff in the in what was the old AR New South Wales Rugby League in those days.
Yes.
And his old man's just one of the great guys, and his mum and his sisters. It's just one of those sort of things where you meet people through cricket and you sort of become lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Marty and I are still playing in the over 50s. In 2020. So
Yeah.
it's
Can't ask more than that.
1980 to 2020. It's a pretty long,
Yeah.
pretty long association. Yeah, no, Marty's a good man. He was renowned, however, for being the slowest driver on earth, to the point when he was batting overnight with me and was timed out not once but twice for being late to cricket. It's a rare feat. I don't know that anyone else is ever going to repeat that, but he did. For his sin, apart from being timed out, he had to field from fine leg to fine leg a couple of times.
Just for the record, who was the skipper then?
That would have been me.
Right.
Macquarie Uni was one of the games. I remember it vividly. And I went out to bat. We'd opened the batting, for that 4 or 5 over spell the week before, and I'm out in the middle and just shaking my head. And Marty appears in the car park, and I had a gnarly old captain by the name of Grizz who just pulled his watch out at the relevant time and appealed to the umpire. How's that?
Oh,
I
no.
think we would have been umpiring ourselves too, and even back in those days, it was pretty hard to argue with. And you look up at Macquarie Uni, where in the day you were playing down in that massive ground and the car park was up above, and I saw him arrive, and I just shook my head and got on with cricket. He's dead set. One of the nicest folks you'd ever want to meet. But his other particular effort off the ground was I can't think of the year, but we made the final in 4th grade, and I'd played was over Easter, so we're playing Saturday, Sunday, and we had a young bloke from England playing for us, Steve Adams, Herbert as we call him, Herbert Adams after the.
Of course. Stands to reason.
And Herbert decided that he was having a stellar season. He took over 40 wickets and was easily our best bowler. We made the grand final, playing at Warringah, and Steve's visa had run out, but that didn't seem to worry him, so he hung around and booked a flight for the Monday. So we played, I think we'd run second, Warringah had run first. We got washed out day 1. Day 2, they just they weren't interested in trying to make a game of it, so it petered out, and we ended up at the rowing club at Tempe there, near Carl Park, St George Rowing Club until all hours, and then the bourbon and beefsteak until the light was coming up over the horizon. And then we all had made a pact to get a few hours sleep and go home, go to the airport and see Steve off. He'd been such a good fella for the club, and Marty had one of those post night out spews in the toilets at the airport, which of course there was 10 or 15 blokes in there to witness, climbing over the top of the toilet cubicle. He was notoriously poor drinker, Marty.
Really?
No stamina whatsoever.
Oh, God. Mate, so, but tell me though, for the club, what's he done? I know he's done a heap. What are the memorable things that come to mind?
Look, Marty, he's just one of those guys you could rely on all the time once you ensured someone picked him up for cricket.
Yeah. So once he was in attendance.
He's very, very, very solid batsman.
Yep.
Good field. he used to bowl off breaks reasonably well too.
Yeah, I heard that, which I
Haven't seen
didn't
those
realise.
coming out for many years.
Yeah.
And just a stalwart of the club, and pretty solid batsman. We had a lot of good fun times together. I remember him G'ing me up at North Epping Oval one day when I got to 50 on a pretty difficult outfield. It was one of those ones that was pretty thick, and I wasn't one for hitting over the top in those days. And I got to 50, and he chided me to say it only got halfway. Needless to say, it didn't work, and I didn't get too many more. But no, Marty, he's just one of those blokes you meet through life, and as I said, we've been lifelong mates, and some of the cricket parties that you go to, and he was pretty predominant with his very, very poor drinking capacity.
Marty, thinking about you for the moment, so your time with the club, like you said, you started 80, 81.
Yep.
Who are the guys that have been the biggest influence on you, say on the field?
On the field, Tomo, purely for the fact that the very first day I started, he was the captain, and he's still there these days. So I still sort of, from day one, I've looked up to him as a leader and still do. Obviously, Pete's been a mate of mine from day one. We debuted together. Guys like Kevin, Bruce, Trevor Davies. I always loved playing cricket with Trevor. I always enjoyed playing with Trevor because his attitude on the field. He's very, very determined, but does it always played in the right spirit, which I respect. There's been guys over the years that, and I won't name them, that I thought I genuinely don't enjoy playing cricket with this bloke.
Right.
And there's guys that I just love playing cricket with, and I'll go back to, I touched on it before, that one year where we got sort of almost the dream team together. Where Kev was captain, there was Pete, there was Trev. It was Kevin, Pete, Trevor, myself, Tomo, even guys like Peter Chudley, who I haven't seen for years, and Ben Fairfax, just all, Roy Amos, just all guys that, as I say, there's guys that you genuinely don't like playing cricket with, and guys that you just love playing cricket with. And it seems like all 11 that day were guys that I just love playing cricket with. I just hope they felt the same about playing with me. I remember standing, Kevin was keeping that day. I was standing in slips with Ben Fairfax and Peter Chudley, and it was one of the most enjoyable days in the field I've ever had. We had a ball. But
Well, tell me about your memorable matches, memorable innings with bat or ball. What comes to mind for you? You look back and go, you know what, that was a good day.
There was a couple of times there. Again, I'll go back to the year we made the second grade grand final. We got there on the back of, I think we won pretty much just about every game after Christmas, which got us into the semis.
Yeah.
And we've actually had to win every game. And there was a couple of, I was batting at number 6 then, and there was a couple of games there where we were chasing and it was touch and go. And I got a couple of big scores there. I think I got high 40s not out. A couple of games in a row, which got the team home. With one of them I remember was batting. I basically batted it through with the lower order, took over the role and got us home. Yeah. And one was with I think James Leckie, who batted at 3 and got a big score. But as I say, I was batting at 6. And James was going well, but after me, that's when sort of the keeper in the tail end. But we did bat fairly way down. But and of course we were getting short on time too.
Yes.
The 85 overs for the day was nearly up, so we just had to. Again, I batted through with James. We got there, we got over the line, which was all instrumental in getting us through. So there were a couple of innings that I was, I like to think back on. They weren't my biggest scores for the club, but they were important
scores.
ones.
Yeah, the context is everything. Yeah.
I guess the real standout for me is the first year we had a 5th grade side, the Metropolitan Cup side, and at the start of the season I was up and down availability wise because it was just before my first child was born, and my wife at the time, she was in and out of hospital with some blood pressure problems and so forth. So I wasn't sure of I was just a week-to-week thing, and so
Yeah.
okay, well, fifth grade, their first few games are one-day games. Why don't you play fifth grade? And you know, if you have to pull out, it's only a one-day game. It's not.
Yeah.
We have to find someone for a two-day game at the last minute. And so I started off playing fifth grade, and sure enough, I think Roy or Kevin might have captained the first game, but then sort of went up to. There was a reason why I was playing fifth grade. I think because it was a one-day game, but it's sort of, and so suddenly after a game, fifth grade was out. I said, okay, yeah, if I'm playing, I'll captain the side this week, and did that a couple of weeks, and then, you know, eventually you're locked in.
Yep.
So I spent
Yep.
the season as fifth grade captain,
Yep.
which was a bit of a challenge because I had some young blokes in
Yep.
the side there, some that were knew the ins and outs of playing grade or Shires cricket, about getting to training, getting there early, and all, helping with the covers and all that sort of stuff. But I had two or three that just did not, just didn't get it. They expected you're basically a babysitter for them,
Right.
which was a bit of a challenge. But we had one day. It was. Yeah, well, I can tell you exactly what day it was. It was the 12th of December 1998.
Right.
And it was, we were playing, to play South Sydney at Bexley Oval. I knew it was going to be a stinking hot day. We were doing it tough for numbers, and being the fifth grade side, I had, it was at a time where, schoolies was on.
Right.
And we had uni students and HSC students, and they were going away on holiday. So at the start of the day, we, I think an hour before the game, I had 7 players for the side, and I'm ringing around making phone calls. Bruce, he's helping me out too, ringing around making phone calls, and we got it up to 9, and we thought, I got as far as, okay, we're not going to get 2 more. But 2 guys I mentioned before, Trent Power and Joel Cross, they were away at schoolies up the Gold Coast. They were going to be back week 2, so I'll put them on the team sheet. At least they can turn up day 2.
Yes.
So I got to the ground, and of course 12th of December is my birthday. That's how I know the exact date it was. Got to the ground, it's already about 35 degrees, and it's only going to get hotter. And I've got 9 players. At the time I was doing the toss, there still only had 7 players at the ground. And I knew for a fact the best I was going to get for the day was 9. We were going to have to survive with 9 fielders. We've gone out, I got for the toss, and I thought, God, if ever I want to win a toss, it's got to be today. It's got to be to the tape. I tossed, he calls tails, and it comes down, and it's tails. He said, we might bowl. And I just looked at we end up getting about 3. I declared,
Right.
not knowing. Well, the opposition didn't know it. I declared at 8 down. In other words, we were all out because we only had 9. But in their minds, and we should have sent them out to bat for a couple of overs, but I didn't insist on that. I thought I'd had enough good fortune going away that day.
Yeah.
We got just on 300 for the day on a perfect batting wicket.
Nice.
Nice hot day. Everything went right. I still can't believe they sent us in. And I remember it too because I got 100 myself that day, 110.
Nice.
So it was 110 on my birthday when it had to be my birthday because everything went right.
Right.
There's no way we should have been batting, and
Yes.
he's gifted us. We come back the next week, and the thing is that the following week, normally I'd round up a couple of guys to go down, and we put the covers on Friday night. As I say, I had a couple of young blokes in the side that didn't really get the gist of all that, so it was the same sort of guys that were putting the covers on every week, and I'd have to go round, pick them up, drive them down there, we'd put the covers on, and I'd buy them a beer or something afterwards. And that Friday night because it was so close to Christmas, we had a work Christmas function, so I couldn't get down there, so we won't bother putting the covers on. won't be an issue. It's only, and sure enough, there was a bit of rain overnight. We turned up on the follow-up the next day, and it's not quite the same wicket it was the week before. We actually bowled him out for 110, and I remember that too because that was the score I got individually the week before.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
so we rolled him for 110, sent him, and then sort of sent him back in again. But that's one that stands out.
Well, tell me, you and Pete, as you mentioned before, you're on the Perpetual Trophy for the most improved.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that come about? You've got some background there.
No, I can't really tell you the story. The club, instigated the trophy. I think it was probably Kevin along with Bruce. They were very, respectful of the contribution that Peter and I had done for the club, which seems ironic when I don't think anyone other than Tomo, anyone's has contributed as much as those two. But they acknowledged our contribution by naming a trophy after us. As I said, from day one, Pete and I, debuted on the same day, and still today play together. We're almost a package deal. So when it came to a trophy, it was rather than it be one and not the other. It was always. Pete and I still argue about whose name should be going first. I insist it's me alphabetically, but which upsets him. But
Maybe you got your way.
I did.
Yeah. All right, mate. Thank you.
That's all. Okay.